From Luxembourg's neighboring countries to lands far, far away, PwC Luxembourg employs almost 2,900 people from 84 different nationalities. This is a remarkable mix of cultures, genders, religions, and opinions too. This is why diversity and inclusion is a topic that matters to us, and where we feel that we can make a real difference. During this episode, you will hear Maria's story. Maria, who comes from Venezuela, graduated in psychology, and she's now our own diversity and inclusion officer. She'll share with us her personal experience living abroad and her views on diversity and inclusion in the workplace. She'll also tell us about the concrete actions PwC Luxembourg is taking to support diversity and inclusion. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Hi Maria, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. And you?
I'm very well. Has been a stressful week for us. A lot of events. We are preparing to go January, PwC, where all the associates are joining us, so has been busy. But before we jump right into the topic, let's introduce you. You are Venezuelan. You studied psychology in Caracas, Venezuela,
Yes, that's correct.
and decided to cross the Atlantic Ocean to do your master's degree here in Luxembourg. So maybe just tell me, and also the listeners out there, a little bit more about yourself.
Well, since I was younger, because small I have always been, I discovered the internet, and I discovered that there was a war outside of Venezuela. I was very curious about it. So when I went into uni, I knew that my university had some agreements with other universities, but by the time the crisis of the country, they were cancelled. So I couldn't do my studies abroad, or at least one semester abroad. But when I finished the university, I was decided that I wanted to do something else, elsewhere. So I came to Luxembourg as a young fille au pair. That is like a babysitter,
wow.
an exchange, a cultural exchange. And it was great. I had the best families that you could have. I learned French while I was with them. And that year also allowed me to enter the University of Luxembourg. And it's also I kept the same job with the family while I was doing my studies, so it was perfect.
And why did you choose Luxembourg? Because it's so small.
It was not a choice, it chose me. I was looking more for the south of France because I was quite scared of the weather. I mean, in Venezuela, it's like an eternal summer. So, of course, that when I saw that country is in 0 or minus X, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing there?
You need to go shopping for winter clothes then.
Yes, like it was September and I had some Belgian friends and I was like, can I buy my jacket now? And they were like, no, you are not gonna find nice jackets now. There are like seasonal jackets. And I'm like, oh no, I'm cold already. What is happening?
Okay, well, apart from the weather, what has been the biggest, like say, cultural shock for you coming from Venezuela to Luxembourg?
Well, I think that the Sundays impacted on me quite a lot because everything is closed on Sundays. And especially, I remember clearly winter Sunday. And I went to the city and my bus was every 2 hours and I was freezing and everything was closed. So I just died in the winter that day. So I think that was the biggest shock. Also the 3 kisses. For me, in Venezuela, you say hello with your hand to the people you don't know. And only one kiss on the cheek to the people you know very well.
Yeah.
And here it's the contrary. Like you don't know people, but they kiss you 3 times. And for me, that's just...
Well, that are typically French people, because I'm from Belgium and we
Yeah.
give usually 1 kiss only.
Oh,
But yeah, we kiss everyone. Like you're coming to a group, you're walking up to them,
Exactly.
you know one person, you're going to kiss everyone on the cheek. On the
but
cheek.
for me, that's a violation of my space. So I was
No.
like, oh my God, why is people so close to me?
I fully understand. I have more German culture myself, so for me, like the kissing part was the biggest cultural shock when I moved to the French-speaking part of Belgium. Like I was with my friends, someone approached us and they were like kissing me on the cheek. I was like, why are you doing this? We are not that close, but
To be honest, that's something thankful that I am for the pandemic because, I mean, there is groups of 15 people and you need to kiss them
all.
all. And if not, they take it personally, because it has
I
happened to
know.
me. Like, I say hello to everyone just with the
Yeah.
hand. They're like, oh my God, why is she not coming to me
You
and
know
saying
what the
hello?
biggest like tip is? You should be there first. So
Yes,
people are
so
going to
people come
approach.
kiss me.
Exactly. So you can't do any mistakes. You're good to go. No one can blame you. You've been there first. Well, now you're with us here at PwC Luxembourg, and you started out as an intern in February 2019. Now you are our own inclusion and diversity officer. What is this role about?
It's about everything, to be honest. It's a very versatile role. I mean, you're not only in charge of rolling out the whole inclusion and diversity strategy, but you need to connect with the different stakeholders of the firm. So it's someone who works closely with the internal communications team, with the external communications team, with the social media team, with the video team. It really depends on the project that you're working on, but basically you need to know everyone. And if you don't know them, you're gonna get to know them. Of course, with HR, we have here at PwC, we have two communities, so the LGBT plus community and the Women and Men committee. So you need to be the bridge between them and the general strategy. So it's a very
Demanding post.
yes,
It's a demanding role.
yes, indeed. But it's also very interesting, and you get to know a lot of people. So that's always
Well, I
interesting.
can imagine the struggle at the beginning to identify every stakeholder you needed in order to get your projects running.
Yes, but not only that, in PwC, I think that we have a lot of acronyms. So it was like, yeah, you get the KAP with the CPA, and I was like, what? The
PDM,
whom?
like,
Yes,
okay.
exactly. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. And then I was talking to my colleague, like, what is this? What is this? But yeah, after 2 weeks, you get a handle of it.
That's true. Either you get to love it, or you're like, okay, what I'm going to do next? Like, what are going to be the
Yes.
next steps?
And also, people have been super welcoming. Most of the people that I work with were super happy to finally have someone dedicated to that dimension. So it was very well welcome.
Yeah, it's really important. And just to get back on what you just said, there was an American author, Stephen Covey, who said that the strength lies in differences and not in similarities. What do you think about this sentence?
I love it. I mean, I choose psychology as a career because you really learn to see the individual and how can this person express their individuality. So for me, this is great because when we come together, there is a strength. And in the workplace, it's something that you can also spot, especially here in PwC. I mean, you mentioned that we have like more than 80 nationalities. That is a bunch of people, a bunch of different stuff that come together to make a product, to bring value. And I think that is something that you can feel when you work with these people, and when they click together, that also you can see it.
Well, I'm a psychologist myself, so I fully understand where you're coming from. I do my study, you learn really to understand what it means to be a person, and also to be aware of the biases you may have unintentionally. You just have them
Yes.
because you grew up in a certain like context or environment. So I think it's great if we have someone like you here, making us aware of our differences and also teaching us that there's an added value in those differences.
Yes, but for me, it also you need a certain level of respect,
Oh, yeah.
openness, and curiosity to have these kind of conversations. If you're not open, of course that you're not gonna agree with what the other person is telling you. Like, why is he saying something in the contrary of my direction? You know. So I think that that is something like the basis to have a very inclusive culture.
I agree. You need the baseline in order to build something up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, appealing to your psychologist degree, why do you think people are so afraid to be different? And what would you like to say an employee who maybe would like to show a little bit more of their true self in the workplace?
Well, humans are social creatures. This means that we get together to survive, as a matter of speak. And of course that we choose people who look like us, or maybe that think like us. And this is something called similarity bias. I mean, you trust yourself, and you're probably gonna like yourself too.
True.
So if you could choose between something you know and something you don't, you're most likely to choose the things that you know. As someone different, you might also be rejected because of this difference, and you're more likely to be alone. So at some point, you will stop being different, and trying to get along with the other people. This it's something that you can see a lot on teenagers, for example, that they try to stick to their group. But I think that as we grow older, we learn to love ourselves a bit more and to accept ourselves as we are. And this, I think, increases our ability to speak out for ourselves and to embrace everything that we are. Teenagers, it's a complicated age, I mean.
You're trying to find yourself while
But-
staying like the others because you would like to be part of the group.
Exactly. So it's quite different. So I think that that's why people stop sort of saying of being different because they stay in that stage.
You would like to say they created their comfort zone for
Yes.
themselves, and you need to build up the confidence to step out of it and maybe also be object to criticism or reject from some peers.
Yes, but as a psychology, I can tell you that it doesn't last long because you're not being true to yourself. So, yeah, it's hard. Of course, there's stuff that we don't like about ourselves. Everybody has that.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely normal. But if I could say something to those employees, I would say to be brave, to stand out. A lot of great contributions to the war were from people who didn't think like everybody else. That's why the war is so amazing. That's why we want inclusion to happen, because like that you can access all that knowledge that is beyond the box, you know? So embracing and accepting where were you born, the way you grew up, and like every experience that has brought you here doesn't only make you who you are, but it makes you an asset. It makes you an added value, not only to the enterprise, not only to the firm or to your work, but to yourself, to your relationships, to everything.
Someone just said when I was younger, because I struggled, just as you said, with like, I would like to be like everyone else, I would like to be accepted. And someone told me that your personal growth lays outside of your comfort zone. So you need to keep pushing yourself, because especially with the pandemic, I noticed it's so easy to just stay in the comfort zone. You don't need to leave your home. You're just meeting everyone on Google Meet. So it's not the same as being face to face with someone.
Yes, definitely the same struggles. And I mean, it's a comfort zone. So of course people like it. Who doesn't like to be in comfort in a couch, you know, just watching TV? But nothing interesting ever happens in the comfort zones, you know? So is it really what you want? I mean, and it's completely okay if you do. It just has to be a conscious choice that you need to do.
And not a choice made out of fear or anxiety.
Exactly.
And as you are fighting for inclusion and diversity in the workplace, what would you say are the main obstacles?
People. It's a joke.
Okay.
No. I actually think that patience a mindset. Patience, because inclusion and diversity is something that takes time. I mean, we're talking about changing how people
Mindset.
think, how people behave. So this doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of people want to see fast results. It's like going to therapy. You go there, you say you have a problem, and then by 3 sessions, you're, okay, where is my solution? I'm losing time here. And it's not. It's a time investment that you need to do to see changes in the future. I mean, probably 50 years ago, when you talk to a woman, she didn't expect to be voting, to be in a leadership position. But all of that has happened. It has taken time, for sure. And it's still not where we want to be, but it needs time. And I think that also a mindset, because that's the way that you want to pursue this, you know. When you make that click, that goes from, okay, this is something nice that I need for my firm in this case, and you see that is way beyond that, you're going to make the click yourself. And that is what we need for everyone, to make the internal click.
Yeah, well, I agree that it's a long-term process, because changing a mindset, you can have that click moment, but to keep up with the mindset and acting aligned with that mindset is an entire different step of the process.
Yes.
So I fully agree when you say it's hard to make people understand that behavior is not something you change once and then you're good to go.
Exactly.
It's something you have to keep doing, and even you mind yourself on a daily, like, okay, I want to have that mindset, so maybe I should act aligned with it.
Yes, and I mean, inclusion and and diversity is not something that is nice to have, you know, or an HR or
No.
branding strategy, or it shouldn't be in any case. It needs to be a priority, a reality. And for that, you need dedicated resources, you need to make reminders, you need to find, again, a bunch of biases that people have. And it's an ongoing work, and it looks like a never ending work, too.
Well, I agree. It's not easy because you have to confront people with biases they may have and they don't maybe necessarily have the right or are in the right mindset in that moment to accept the truth.
Yes.
So your job is really like pushing and keep pushing and never giving up.
Yes, yes, indeed.
And what do you think should companies be doing more to further foster the inclusion and diversity?
I think that, related to my point before, I need that they need to come out of that facade, you know. So yes, it's nice to hear that we have 80 plus amount of nationalities, or that we have 50% of women population in the company. But you need to go into the details, you know. Out of that 82%, how many are really included or they feel that they belong where they work? Or out of that 50% of women, how many are in leadership positions? And not only women, people of color, people that are more than 50 years old. I mean, diversity means everything, everything that goes out of the norm. But inclusion, it's being it's being accepted by where you're working. So I think that we really need to put not only the mindset, but we need to be accountable for what we're saying. And yeah, it doesn't have to be on paper. It doesn't have to be just a page on your career site, you know. It's not a branding strategy. Because when you create a cool, an inclusive culture, you're gonna feel the difference.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna see it in the value added to the proposals, to the client's work. You're gonna see it also in the engagement of the people in your company. Because at the end, you're investing in them because they're investing in your company. But if they're happy, they're not gonna leave. And I mean, how much money do you actually lose in the people that go away after you train them?
I don't want to say something to that. But no, I fully understand where you're coming from. I think nowadays often inclusion diversity is something people put on their company page to make people apply, but you actually have to live it in every interaction you have. So it means something. And I already think here at PwC we're doing a great job of that. We're just building up more.
Yes.
But
yes,
in having over 18 nationalities comes with the daily responsibility of knowing that it's a multicultural context, that we come from everywhere in the world, that we all have a different style of communicating, and that we have to find a common ground where we all feel comfortable.
Yes, I mean, and it's not only communication, it's management styles, it's the how you assume hierarchy. It's so different. I mean, I'm working with different people, of course, and with different nationalities. But I also know teams of only French people because, well, we have a lot of French or Belgian or German. And the dynamics are completely different when you see a fully French team and when you see a multinational team. I'm not saying that it's for better or for worse, it's just different. And that is something that you need to embrace. And something that shocked me a lot when I started my internship was that I had to look into other companies' websites for what they have to say about inclusion and diversity. And like 90% of them said it's the right thing to do. And, you know, it's not only the right thing to do, it's something that you need to do for the world to advance. I mean, inclusion and diversity is included in the ISG. It's gender equality. It's giving the same amount of opportunities for everyone. So for me, it's impressive how nobody's really talking more about this. Well, thank God it's starting to
Yeah, there has been a change over the last few years. And speaking about change and creating more visibility, in November, PwC Luxembourg will support two important events, the International Men's Day and the Orange Week. I know the Orange Week is something specific to Luxembourg, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe you could explain us what is the aim of these events and also what PwC as a company is doing to show their alliance.
Yeah, so the International Men's Day is on the 19th of November, and it's a celebration worldwide. It started, if I'm not mistaken, 25 years ago. Because we always hear about International Women's Day and how important it is, but men also need this.
Yeah.
So because this celebrates the positive value that men bring into our life, but it also shares a light on the problems that they have. You might think that they may have no problems, but yeah, exactly. So, men normally cannot express themselves freely. They have a lot of pressure from society.
Yeah.
I think that 60% or more of men are the ones who commit suicide. So they have a lot of mental issues, maybe even if you're not aware of them. And all of this additionates, to the gender problem. It builds up. Because I think it's not a thing of women or men. It's a thing of women and men. It's
a human being thing, let's be honest.
Yes, but it's two faces of the same coin, If one cause doesn't advance, the other one won't neither.
It's the same for women in a big company and a man in a hospital doing a nursing job.
Yes,
it's the same issue.
Exactly. So with this conversation, we have a panel with 4 speakers. This year, it's an intergenerational conversation. So we took a more junior role, 2 in the middle, and 1 a bit seasoned. And we have them discussing not only the problems of men, but in the workplace. And what do they think of that? And what is the concept of masculinity? So I think that it's very important that people start talking about these topics, because that is the only way that you will advance. You need to create awareness. You need to, hey, look, this is happening. You need to have a look on that. Yeah. And as for the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, that is celebrated worldwide. But what is mainly Luxembourgish is the Orange Week. So during 1 week, and this year it's a bit wider, the Ministry of Equal Opportunities, or the Ministry for Women and Men, it's starting the 25th of November until the 10th of December, lighting up all the Luxembourg buildings in orange as support of this cause. Here at PwC, we'll do it too, except for the days that we have the Christmas market. And the 25th, that is the day that I wouldn't say celebrate, but that we fight, that we support this cause. We're going to have a photo booth with some shocking statistics about what is happening with women around the world, especially after COVID, that the numbers rose incredibly. I mean, 1 in 3 women worldwide experience physical or sexual violence, mostly by an intimate partner. And here in the Grand area, I mean, physical and or sexual violence by a partner or a non-partner since the age of 15 in girls reaches 35% in Germany, 36% in Belgium, 38% in Luxembourg, and 44% in France.
That's only the reported ones that people are aware of.
Reported ones.
Because for women, sometimes it's just so, it's nothing. But it has been a sexual assault or violence against them. But we're just, it's sad to say, but used in a certain way to being exposed to this, that we're not even reporting it.
Yes, and the sad thing is that they don't get reported because it's something that is normal. Yes. And I put the quote here. Because, of course it's not, but it has become accepted somehow by society. Oh, yeah, he just touched you? Oh, that's okay. He didn't go further.
And she wore a short dress.
Yes, but let's not get there because that gets my
blood boiling. I fully understand. I feel like I have this discussion every week because I like to raise those subjects with people who are maybe a little bit more conservative, because it's important to talk about it.
And this is also where the mindset is important once again, because we need to change this. It's not admissible that something like this is still happening in the 21st century. I mean, I'm pretty sure that women looking at us from behind are saying, why are you still facing that? How have you not come out of that?
And I think we are also supporting some other diversity groups, let's put it that way. So what are some other main diversity and inclusion events we have here at PwC Luxembourg?
Well, something that is good when you have an inclusion and diversity officer is that you can dedicate their time to follow up everything that is happening. I'm pretty sure that you know that now every day it's a day of something.
Yeah.
So of course that you need to choose the causes that you're supporting.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, I think it's the Diversity Day here in Luxembourg.
Mm-hmm.
We're part of the Charte de la Diversité. So that is a day where we gather here and we celebrate. The first 2-3 years was a cooking contest. So people will bring the pastries from their home,
cool.
and we will all taste them in the atrium, and then we will vote, and at the end they will have a prize. That was
so cool.
Let me tell you that everybody was happy with that. And we had a lot of participants, actually. The first edition, I think we had like around 25 tables.
Oh, wow.
So it was a lot of eating.
There was food involved, so...
Yes. Yeah, but you need to cook for a firm of 3,000 people. So you need to be sure that you have enough to get enough votes. And so based on that, we also did a cooking recipe book that we distributed and that we have internally that you can download digitally. That's for the Diversity Day. Then, of course, we support the International Women's Day. And we have also an LGBT plus community that we name Shine. And with them, we always try to organize the Pride Week in June. And in the past 2 years, we have come together with the EMEA PwC network. And we have done, well, that's also something thanks to COVID. Because, well, since everything is digital, we can make these collaborations with the Netherlands, with UK, with Cyprus. So it has been very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And there's one last question I like to ask the guests, because I feel like as being a young graduate, someone who's just entering the workforce, what would be your advice for those graduates?
I think that is something that I see different now. I think that you need to ask questions. You need to be sure that you want to work there. I mean, they're not only a proposition for you, you're also a proposition for them. So, because normally we go to interviews and it's like, oh my God, I hope I get this. I know that it's stressful, of course, not to have a job and everything. But you need to think of your mental health. If you don't link with the cultural space where you're going to be working, I mean, 8, but also more time a day, it's going to consume you, So I will say ask your questions and don't get despair. We always find the right place to be. It might take time, but yeah, we need to look for it. At the end, it's best for you.
Mm-hmm. So you would say don't compromise on your values and ask the questions that are important to you.
Yes, of course. And at the end, if you really like a company or a firm and you don't see the stuff that you want to see in them, propose them. Believe me, we're always looking for voluntaries to keep initiative. And maybe sometimes they have not even think of it, or they have people that is excited about it, but they don't have the people that actually gets the idea out. Mm-hmm. So I will say that if something is not there, build it for yourself.
Thank you so much for all this insight into the role of Inclusion and Diversity Officer here at PwC. And I hope you have a great week and a lot of resilience and good sleep for those upcoming events.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I really love talking about this topic.
That's it for today's episode. And if you don't want to miss out on our upcoming stories, hit subscribe and feel free to share. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening and see you for the next episode of Casual Side.